Good morning, this is your AI host, Jay. I'm here with the automatically generated, Journato, morning headlines on December 1, 2023. Ukraine, Russian general blown up on mine. BBC, senior Russian general killed by one of Putin's own landmines in Ukraine. The Independent, deputy commander of Russian Arctic brigades is killed in Ukraine. The Independent Barents Observer, Russian general reportedly killed in Ukraine, far from the line of combat. Medusa, another Russian general reportedly dies in Ukraine. Ukraine's SBU targets rail line deep inside Russian Siberia, source. Reuters, Ukraine behind rail explosion in Russian Far East, official says. Bloomberg, Ukraine behind train fire in eastern Russia, source claims. CNN, Ukraine update, Kyiv behind rail explosion in eastern Russia, says official, EU to unveil plan to tap frozen Russian assets. 10,000 naps a day, how chinstrap penguins survive on microsleeps. The Guardian, 10,000 microsleeps a day let penguins stay ever watchful. The Times, sleep-deprived penguin parents rely on 10,000 daily micro-naps. The Telegraph, why chinstrap penguins sleep thousands of times a day. The Economist, extreme sleep behavior documented in cute Antarctic chinstrap penguins. 4 migrants die after being thrown from speedboat off Spanish coast. Sky News, Spanish police investigate deaths of 4 migrants forced off speedboat. The Guardian, 4 migrants who were pushed out of a boat died just yards from Spain's southern coast. The Independent, 4 migrants pushed out of a boat died just yards from Spain's southern coast. Africa News, 4 migrants who were pushed out of a boat died just yards from Spain's southern coast. Israel recalls ambassador in war spat with Spain PM Pedro Sanchez. BBC, Gaza sparks clash between Israel and NATO member Spain. Tel Aviv recalls envoy from Madrid. Hindustan Times, Spanish Prime Minister says he doubts Israel is respecting international law. The Guardian, Israel recalls its ambassador to Spain indefinitely after Sanchez's shameful remarks. Euronews, Israel to summon Spanish envoy after Madrid said Gaza war likely violates international law. Russian Supreme Court bans the whole LGBTQ movement and brands activists extremists. Sky News, Russian court bans LGBT movement. BBC, Russia bans LGBTQ+ movement for extremism. The Times and the Sunday Times, the Kremlin is criminalizing LGBT lives. The world must step up. The Moscow Times, Russian Justice Ministry bans LGBT movement as extremist organization. Sued for millions by my abuser, I set up a social network instead. U.S. Senator Rand Paul performs Heimlich on Senator Joni Ernst. Least Palestinians allege abuse in Israeli jails. BBC, freed Palestinian prisoner, I was explicitly threatened with rape. Middle East Eye, the Palestinian teenagers suddenly freed from jail in Hamas hostage deal. Financial Times, Israel-Gaza, Palestinian criticizes Israeli prisoners 30 more freed. BBC, the Gaza war also rocks Israel's Palestinian prisoners, at every count I wanted to die. We haven't slept a wink, families welcome freed Thai hostages home. The Guardian, Hamas-Israel deal, joy and relief as 17 Thai captives return home from Gaza. Al Jazeera English, tears of joy as Thai hostages are reunited with their families in Bangkok. The Telegraph, relief as Thai hostages return home amid fears for those still held in Gaza. Meta takes down China-based network of thousands of fake accounts. BBC, Meta closes nearly 4,800 fake accounts in China that tried to polarize US voters. The Guardian, Meta shuts 4,800 accounts over alleged China-based influence operation. Al Jazeera English, fake Facebook accounts shut down by Meta were primed to polarize voters. Hampstead Highgate Express, 4,789 Facebook accounts in China impersonated Americans, Meta says. I hate that I helped George Santos, Congressional fabulist. BBC, Kenneth Cole hilariously reacts to George Santos outfit. The Independent, George Santos last stand looms in House expulsion vote. BBC, George Santos, a creature of Congress, dark money and limitless Republican hypocrisy. What US agents knew before a Canadian Sikh activist was killed. BBC, contrary to government policy, India responds to US assassination plot claims. The Guardian, Indian man charged in plot to kill Sikh separatist on US soil, France 24 English. France 24 English, opinion, why India's reactions to Canada and US on Khalistan Row are different. NDTV, lost in the plot about Panan. French-Israeli woman seen in Hamas hostage video is freed. The Guardian, MIA scam, wounded festival goer in Hamas hostage video freed. BBC, hostage prisoner swap, Franco-Israeli 21-year-old MIA scam among the freed, France 24 English. France 24 English, aunt of returned hostage says Gazan veterinarian performs surgery on her arm. The Times of Israel, French-Israeli woman held hostage by Hamas reunites with family after release. Video. Donald Trump gag order reinstated in New York civil fraud trial. BBC, appeals court reinstates gag order that barred Trump from maligning court staff in NY fraud trial. The Independent, Trump gag order reinstated in NY fraud trial by appeals court judge. The New York Times, news wrap, Trump again under gag order again in civil fraud trial. Israel-Gaza war, Israel resumes combat against Hamas, ending 7-day ceasefire. BBC, return to war, the Bloomberg Open, Europe edition. Bloomberg, Israel-Hamas war live, Israel resumes military operations in Gaza after ceasefire expires. The Guardian, Israel resumes war against Hamas after week-long Gaza truce. Bloomberg, meeting security chiefs, Gallant says IDF ready for immediate renewal of fighting. Israel-Hamas war live, Israel frees 30 Palestinians from jails as Hamas releases 8 hostages. The Guardian, Israel says Hamas truce will be extended for 7th day, BBC News. BBC News, source close to Hamas says terror group willing to extend the truce. The Times of Israel, what hope of a long-term ceasefire between Israel and Hamas? The Times, Hamas agrees to free 10 Israeli hostages in exchange for 30 Palestinian prisoners. A brief history of Henry Kissinger's alleged war crimes. The Independent, Henry Kissinger, China mourns a most valued old friend. BBC, Henry Kissinger, former U.S. Secretary of State dies aged 100, BBC News. BBC News, what does Henry Kissinger's diplomacy have to teach the world? The Economist, Kissinger was not just a war criminal, but a man who sought peace, Sean O'Grady. This was all for the news. Thanks for listening. Please do not forget to like and subscribe.